They don't care, or, well, they hope they come back for the quality of our work and our people. They're not. You know why they're not going to come back? Because by the time they would want to, all of y'all will be unemployed and will have moved on to other careers, and there will be no industry left. You price yourself out of the market when you can go to Vancouver, when you can go to the UK, when you can go out of country, and even if the labor costs are not that much better, but they're better enough to make a difference, A, and B, when you're getting a richer pool of film tax credit benefits from these foreign countries, like the UK and Canada. Everybody's trying to cost cut. We're seeing the budgets of these things get out of hand, and especially at Disney, who have terrible people, terrible business people running studios. Kathleen Kennedy, Kevin Feige, people that absolutely do not know how to run a film studio at all. Because there's no other reason for the budgets, the amount of money that these two idiots wind up pissing away on these projects, where they have to shoot things 2 and 3 times over because they were too lazy and too stupid to do it right the first time, like everybody else in Hollywood is expected to do. But Disney is now abandoning Georgia, taking livelihoods with it. Wham, wham, boo, boo. They're going to go to the UK. Why not? You know why? Tax credits, cheaper labor costs. It's so funny. The guys like Bob Iger and all these California fruits out there that want to talk about the virtues of socialism and Marxism and labor unions and all this, when they actually have to pay the bill, the vastly overpriced bill for the overpaid labor union employees out there, they tuck tail and run off to Vancouver and to the UK and to other places out there. Yeah. Because they would talk about how, oh, yeah, SAG-AFTRA and this and that, and they really know SAG-AFTRA and the WGA are arguably, they're the ones murdering Hollywood right now completely. The studios are just going to pack up and leave. And I'm not saying that one side is fair or right or wrong versus the other, but the reality is any business out there, when costs get too high and they can go do the same thing or even a better job somewhere else for a lower cost, it's going to happen 100% of the time. And that's what's going on here. This from the Wall Street Journal. Get you guys' thoughts on this. Is kind of one of the last stories to hit this evening. Janine Gosselin started her entertainment industry career in LA, but it really took off when she moved to Georgia. Now that's where it's dying. Through the 2010s and early 2020s, the 62-year-old script supervisor had more work than she could handle, earned as much as $200,000 a year, and she sat alongside the directors Marvel Studios productions like Spider-Man Homecoming and She-Hulk Attorney at Law. Can we just say for a minute, I don't think that it's fair to put those two shows in the same sentence with one another, like at all. Ensuring that every detail stayed consistent between takes. Marvel is one of many Hollywood companies that have shot in Georgia to take advantage of the state's generous production tax credits. It made nearly 24 superhero movies and TV shows in the Atlanta area. And that's true, at least in some part or another. But beginning with the summer's Fantastic Four First Steps, Marvel is making most of its upcoming content in the UK. Now, listen, it's been producing in the UK for some time. That ain't nothing new. I think part of the problem here is that, Brett, you know this, is that what did Feige talk about and Iger talk about recently? All the shit on Disney Plus failed. The audiences are terrible, so we're not making those shows anymore. Those shows, more than anything, are what was getting produced in Atlanta and Georgia. So I don't know. Well, I mean, it seems like that may have been the culprit there, but
there's always the Tyler Perry studio. That's in Georgia.
And he just stopped a bunch of movies.
Yeah, well, he said he was going to wait and see what happened with AI. He's like, he halted production on like the growth of his studio, and he's a very wealthy dude because of everything that he's produced. I mean, we knew this was going to happen. I saw Fran Drescher isn't seeking re-election to the as union head or whatever. Like, everybody knew that this was going to be the fallout of the strike in 2023. Even somebody who has no clue how business works knew that this was going to happen.
Yeah. Whether they were right or not, the timing was terrible.
Yeah. And California is trying to do the same, has been trying to do the same thing with Newsom, trying to bring people in with meager amounts that they can't get people to buy back into producing there. You guys remember that clip from a couple of years ago of like Rob Lowe, and he was on like a podcast and he was talking about how it was cheaper to film a reality show or a game show in Ireland than it was here in the US on the back lot at one of these studios. So they would fly the contestants to Ireland to film the show rather than just film it here because of how expensive it is.
That doesn't surprise me one bit. And it's
not going to change.
No, it's because of all the labor unions and whatnot. And the problem is that as soon as they see, oh, there's a gravity shift moving to Georgia, guess what the labor unions want to do? They want to go over to Georgia. They want to invade Georgia and create all of the same problems there that they've screwed up in California. And so finally people are just like, we'll just leave the country altogether and on all of you. Yeah.
Chicago had like for a long time had a fairly good tax credit program, if I remember correctly. That's why all of what's his name? Dick Wolf's shows are made in Chicago now.
Yeah, the Law and Order guy, which takes place in New York, but they still use Chicago.
No, he has like Chicago Fire, Chicago, like
that's right. Yeah,
I mean, New York still, a lot of shows are still actually shot in New York because it's one of those things that for years they would try to shoot stuff in Toronto and pretend like it was New York, and it never really held up as well as shows that actually bit the bullet and paid the money to film there. But it's expensive everywhere.
Well, I mean, look, there's other problems too. You know, like you read this paragraph here next in the article. Marvel's departure, says the Wall Street Journal, says it's part of a nearly 50% drop in production spending in Georgia in the past 3 years. Damn, that's a lot.
Where were those Spider-Man leaks coming from? That was the UK, right?
Yes.
Okay.
My understanding is that was UK.
Yeah, of course it was.
Yeah. And I mean, look, the timing of those leaks was so hilarious because, I mean, the minute Fantastic Four hit its second weekend and collapsed by 67%, all the Spider-Man leaks magically started appearing that day. And then we had like a solid week every day. We had 2 videos of behind-the-scenes Spider-Man leaks.
New photos every day, photos of John Bernthal. Plus, they're like, hey, look at us. We're not in a soundstage.
No, Marvel had to get that disaster, that Pedro Pascal disaster off the front page. But look at the precipitous decline in Georgia has raised questions about whether state subsidies built a, quote, Hollywood of the South or sparked a gold rush that's ending faster than it began. You feel like a jilted lover, says Goslin, who hasn't had steady work since February of last year and borrowed from her retirement plan to pay bills. Ouch. Because, that's so you get early withdrawal penalties and you get income taxes on that. Or no, they said she's in her 60s, right? So at least she doesn't have the penalties. She's been studying to become an intimacy coordinator.
Damn.
Oh, God.
Well, she knows where the market's going.
I mean,
there's always a job for that.
She's making $200,000 a year doing whatever she's doing, and now she was like, "I'm going to become She's 62. She's going to become an intimacy coordinator.
It's just awkward.
It sounds a little weird. I mean, they use those intimacy coordinators in like the Acolyte in weird stuff like that.
It's what they use. It's basically the HR department's like extra arm to make sure they don't get sued for some actor getting handsy.
You know, the other problem with Atlanta is it's a dump. The whole city's like one big ghetto, and I'm sure they probably just don't want to be there anymore. It may also be part
Atlanta is a FedEx hub.
Yes. Maybe the only thing going for it.
That is the FedEx hub. You go there to visit how FedEx works.
That's right.
It's like Universal.
Also, Atlanta is the other hub for Southwest. You have to go through one of the two. Some 245 projects were shot in Georgia in the fiscal year that ended in June. So going back to earlier when we talked about, these states have a limited amount of tax credits they make available in a given fiscal year to these production entities like Superman, which got a bunch of money from Georgia. They also got some money from Ohio. Right? They spent about $100 million, about 18 million in Ohio, and they spent about 82 million, 85 million in Georgia when they were filming the movie. So they got some of those limited amounts of tax credits. And you can see here how it built up. Look at 2015. You look at 2018. That's when Infinity War and Endgame. There was a lot being shot in Georgia for Infinity War and Endgame. Not a ton, because they did do a lot of those. They did do a lot of that production also in Pinewood in the UK, which is why they got a big, which is how we know they spent $1.3 billion on those two movies to produce, because they shot a lot of it in the UK. But they did do a lot of the scenes, like in the beginning, I think when they were in the park, outside in the city and all that, they did a lot of shooting on location that was in Georgia, where they did the Spider-Man movie. But across the U.S., 29% fewer movies and TV series with budgets above $40 million started filming in 2024 versus 2022. So what that tells you right there is you've got these TV shows and you've got these movies, a lot of them smaller budget. Think a lot of these things that are probably going to Netflix and direct to streaming and whatnot, they're doing it here because smaller budget direct to streaming, as Paul correctly pointed out, the minute you do something for theatrical release, the cost of the labor union contracts and everything goes up significantly, as opposed to a TV show or as opposed to a streaming show.
It's even worse if you have a favorite technical person in LA that you want to bring out to Georgia.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of rules around that, which are absolutely insane. So, Hollywood is killing itself.
Yep.
It's not acting very, as a Canadian, you Americans have you're not acting very entrepreneurial when it comes to keeping these things that you invented going. Although a lot of these things that were invented in the United States and Hollywood were actually invented by Canadians, like Mayer, the comedies by my brain's gone. Yeah, a lot of studios were actually created by Canadians.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. But here's the problem in Georgia. It's the labor costs. Surprise, surprise. In Georgia.
Oh, they're going up in Georgia?
This is why all the productions are leaving Georgia. In Georgia, the mood among movie and TV workers is grim. While filming the game show 25 words or less in Atlanta earlier this year, staffers sang alternative lyrics they devised for the Made in Georgia jingle that plays at the end of shows that are shot there. Yep. Unemployed in Georgia is what they're saying. Lee Thomas, director of the Georgia Film Office, said labor costs are the biggest factor that has driven studios out of the state. We hope that this is an anomaly where they'll try out other markets and will return to Georgia because they have faith in our crew and facilities.
Not
and
likely.
So yeah, this is, translation. Ready? Watch. 3, 2, 1. Bullshit, 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 bullshit.
Yep.
Bullshit, bullshit. They're not coming back. They don't care, or, they hope they come back for the quality of our work and our people. They're not. You know why they're not going to come back? Because by the time they would want to, all of y'all will be unemployed and will have moved on to other careers, and there will be no industry left. You price yourself out of the market when you can go to Vancouver, when you can go to the UK, when you can go out of country, and even if the labor costs are not that much better, but they're better enough to make a difference, A, and B, when you're getting a richer pool of film tax credit benefits from these foreign countries like the UK and Canada.
Canada. Why wouldn't you just go to Canada, who's been one of the major hubs for television for the last 30 years, 40 years?
Do you have an idea how many American productions, movies and television are being done in Vancouver?
Almost all
principal
of
them. Toronto too. Toronto is
completely,
Toronto's jammed. Pinewood Studios in Toronto, which has a direct connection with the Pinewood.
It's the same company.
The UK.
Yeah,
same company. And so they know what they're doing. They know how to fill the studios. And you've got the 65 cents on the dollar, gang.
Yeah. I'm going to Canada for my honeymoon, and we're going to go to visit Hatley Castle, where Smallville was filmed for.
That's in Calgary.
Yep.
Yeah, all the strikes that they did, SAG-AFTRA, WGA. IATSE wanted to get in on it. Look,
dumb.
Yeah, it was stupid. There's a limit to reality out there. You don't need a writer's room of 8 talentless, worthless DEI hires to run a show. You don't need to spend $100,000 equivalent a year for a gaffer. I'm sorry, you just don't. I'm sorry that some of these people live in California, and that's where movies are made. I'm sorry that California is a dumpster fire. I'm sorry it's a shithole. It is a shithole. It's the most expensive shithole in the country. But the fact of the matter is that these companies, if they can't detach themselves and leave California, Warner Brothers and Disney and Paramount and all this, it's not so easy to just pack up and leave. There's so much physical infrastructure, the studios, the backlights, all that kind of stuff. They could unincorporate in California and go somewhere else. You know, if Disney had a lick of sense, it would incorporate, it would not have the hub of its business in California.
No, they tried. They screwed that up. They were actually in the business on their way to moving it all out to Florida until they did the EV Reed or whatever that property bullshit thing that they
Reedy Creek.
Yep. They basically shot themselves in the foot.
Yep. Well, that's what I'm saying is like now you have Paramount, you have Skydance. Don't be surprised if you see David Ellison like fast track getting Paramount the hell out of California. I mean, at least, I mean, they might still they'll have a studio out there. They'll have all those facilities, but in terms of where the corporate entity is formed, I mean, why would you stay in California? But I mean, it's California, Gavin Newsom, all the deep blue, left-wing stuff out there. They've priced themselves out of the market.
Well,
Georgia's no different. Atlanta is no different, and that's an extension now of California. That's an extension because all the unions are out there. It's an extension of the same trash that has sunk California. So now it's leaving Georgia as well.
This is an important discussion. We're in the middle of a massive revolution that we don't know how it's all going to play out. The streamers have destroyed network television. Network television destroyed themselves. My biggest interest is comedy. The comedy pipeline, the AAA farm team of television, where you had sitcoms, writers, directors, producers that then went on to movies, has all now disappeared. It's one of the reasons why we don't have a lot of movie comedies. But this AI thing is going to be a boon for a lot of guys. It'll be mostly guys because comedy is always guys because we're assholes and jerks and we do stupid and we say terrible things, and that's where comedy comes from. We will see what happens on the AI front. It's that is probably where it's going to have its biggest effect, maybe apart from porn. Next will be comedy because porn is usually the first to adopt technology, and
it's true.
It's true. I mean, I think one of the things that needs to be done is Hollywood has to get together with the people who are making decisions, and they need to calm down how all this streaming stuff works. I don't like kicking out of Paramount to then go to my Netflix show, quit the Netflix app, go to the Apple app, quit the Apple app. It's not like surfing. It's not like when you had cable and you just sat there on the couch, you went click, 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 click. There's no such surfing in this world. They really need to consolidate. It was much better when it was just Hulu and Netflix, and that was it. And that made a terrific amount of sense. Hollywood has made the user experience, whether it's TV, whether it's going to the movies, whether it's finding a movie that you want to see, they have made it the very worst experience ever, and they've made it more expensive.
Yeah.
So this all has to be solved. I don't know who's going to do it, who has the cojones to do it. It's an absolute complete mess. So that's really my final thought on all of this, and this Georgia stuff is just one piece in this crazy puzzle as people are trying to both figure things out and also dominate.
Trilith chief executive Frank Patterson said he believes the current downturn is a cyclical one that will end. I'm thinking you
like he means that this is just they're gonna all come out the other side of this in better shape than they are now.
I don't see. I mean, again, help me understand that one, Frank. To keep the facility busy until then, his company has invested in startups making content exclusively at Trilith. It's going to settle into some kind of new normal in 2027, he predicted. Meanwhile, back at the farm, we will have been creating other opportunities. So this is one of the guys involved in the industry. I guess, they talked about it up here. See, Marvel did most of its interior shooting. Sorry, I should have gotten this first. At a 1,000-acre, 34-stage facility near Atlanta called Trilith Studios. It was frequently full, fighting over stages on a daily basis because there wasn't enough room for Marvel and whatever other show was trying to film. Okay. Now, Trilith, which has a village with apartments and restaurants for visiting workers, is largely empty. And that's what they're talking about. It's like, it's not the people running Trilith are like, hey, it'll be fine. We'll be back. You got 1,000 acres, 34 studios. I mean, you've got billions of dollars invested in this, and the business is leaving. And once it goes, and I mean, like they understand, we'll get back to new normal in 2027 or some kind of, we'll get back. When Disney books Pinewood Studios, Warner Brothers, and all these other companies, they're booking years in advance. You have to. There's limited space. Whether they're booking Pinewood in Canada or they're booking Pinewood in the UK or Shinfield or whatever, when they're booking these facilities, it's way out. And they book them, and we were talking about this earlier, they'll book, like probably, I would guarantee you that Disney probably has bookings at Pinewood for the next 7 years for movies they haven't even thought up yet. They just book the space. You know, to say that they're magically like 2 years from now, they're just going to come back into Georgia. That is not happening. No. Not at that scale. I don't understand the thought process here. I think it's just a fool's hope. Seeley of Trilith remembers the moment during production of February's Captain America Brave New World, aka Captain Falcon DEI, when word spread among anxious crew members that it might be Marvel's last movie in Georgia. Interesting. The studio then held an auction to sell props that it had accumulated during its decade in the state.
Wait, why did they sell the props? That's what I want to know. Are they that hard up for cash, or was this going to charity?
Well, a lot of times, I mean, they want to they don't want to store them. We have nothing. I mean, we're not talking about like, Cap Shield. I doubt, Brett. It's probably like coffee table that was at the end of the sofa in an episode of WandaVision. Like what are we going to do with this?
Like that. You can just tell people you have that. Nobody's going to go and fact check you.
Right. Exactly. I bought WandaVision's coffee table.
And everyone's like, no, you didn't. It's like, oh yeah, yes, I did.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.